Hello, today I'd like to share a short yoga practice with some simple movements to calm your nervous system and bring some gentle mobility to the spine, hips, and shoulders. You do not have to have a yoga mat for this practice. The short sequence we will do will be done lying on the ground, so you may simply want to lay on a couple of blankets so you have a soft yet firm surface beneath your entire body. If you'd like to take a moment to set yourself up now, simply pause this recording and come back. And we will begin. So you can start by coming down onto the surface you've set up for yourself. Lying down onto the back. And perhaps beginning by just easing the back body into the ground. Noticing if the shoulders would like to shift around. And then if the feet are not already on the floor, go ahead and bend the knees gently so that the soles of the feet can come to the floor and the knees can bend up toward the sky. And just notice right there that can bring a sense of ease and support to the lower back as it comes into connection with the ground beneath you. And in this moment, you can rest in the natural flow of your breath and simply begin to bring your attention to the parts of your body touching the floor. So just noticing where bones sink heavy into the surface beneath you. Noticing areas where there is a sense of light touch, or perhaps areas of the body that are lifted off the ground. And so just with each moment, beginning to make a connection with the ground beneath you, allow yourself to arrive on this space that you've set up for yourself. You may take a moment to even feel the feet on the ground and become aware of if one edge of the foot is pressing more firmly into the ground than the other. And feeling the sense of support beneath you, know that throughout this practice, there might be a subtle change in what parts of the body touch the ground beneath you, but that the floor will be there, the ground will be there supporting you in your practice. At this point, you might become aware of the breath as it's naturally flowing. So without a need to change it in any way, simply notice the natural flow of breath in and out. You may become aware of not just how the ribs and the belly move, but also how the spine moves, even if in a very subtle way. At any point in this practice, if attending to the breath feels like it draws you out of your experience or is activating, you are always welcome to make your point of attention be the ground beneath you and focusing on what you sense underneath you, that sense of grounding. And you can always go back and forth between noticing the ground and then exploring the breath for a period of time. Know that you have full permission to adapt this practice as it serves you and your system, your inner system. So if attending to the breath feels okay in your body and in your mind right now, you might notice what it's like to slowly deepen the breath, letting the belly expand on the inhale and letting it draw in toward the spine gently on the exhale. And so your breath doesn't have to be at the deepest capacity, but just a little more length. Becoming aware of the rhythm of breath that feels right for your nervous system. And your arms could continue to rest where they're at for this next moment, if you have them on your belly or your ribs. Otherwise, if you'd like to bring your hands down to the floor, down by your sides, you may, just feeling the hands touching the ground, the point of contact between the pads of the fingers and the floor. Perhaps lifting the fingers gently and then setting them down so you become even more aware of that point of contact. And then notice what it's like to shift your attention to your feet. You might let your weight drop into the outer edges of the feet, even so the inner edges of the feet lift up a little bit. And then slowly bring your weight into the inner edge of the foot so the outer edges lift a little bit. And you can go back and forth in this way, out and in the range of motion that feels okay for you. So taking some time to notice how far out and in the knees want to go. And what sort of movement into the inner and outer edge of the foot facilitates that movement in and out with the legs. You might begin to link this movement with the breath. So as you go in one way, you inhale, and the other way, you exhale. Do what feels most natural for you in this moment. And you can take a couple more rounds, really sensing the bottom of the foot, sensing the engagement of muscles in the legs, and eventually coming to a place of stillness where the soles of the feet are on the ground and the legs can also settle. And then bringing the arms down by your sides, if they're not there, have the palms touching the floor for a moment. Take a second here to even really sense a little bit deeper with the hands touching the floor. And then as you breathe in, you can slowly lift the arms up off the floor, reaching them up toward the sky and back toward the floor behind you, knowing they do not have to touch the floor behind you. And as you breathe out, you can slowly bring them back up toward the sky, and down by your sides. So I'll say that one more time. So as you breathe in, the arms gently lift up off the ground, reach up toward the ceiling, and then the hands reach toward the back wall behind you. And as you breathe out, the arms come back slowly. So taking a few more rounds here, begin to find the rhythm that feels right for your body and for your breath. You might synchronize the movement with your breath, or it is an option to let go of the breath and simply tune into the sensation in slow movement. And as you move, honor your range of motion. The arms or hands don't have to touch behind you, nor do the elbows have to go straight. Just noticing the shift in the spine as you move through this movement. And then the next time the arms come down by your sides, at that moment, go ahead and draw your right knee in toward your chest any amount. And as you breathe in, you can slowly set the foot down as you lift the arms up overhead once again. And then as you breathe out, arms come down and left knee draws in toward the chest. As you breathe in, arms go overhead as the foot touches the floor. Arms coming down by the sides, right knee draws in, and arms going overhead, foot touches down. Arms come down, drawing left knee in, and then breathing in, arms go up as the left foot goes down. So once again, finding your own rhythm here, take a moment to move in the way that honors your breath. And brings you into a deeper sensory experience here with what you're feeling. And then at some point, as you draw one knee in, you might straighten that leg any amount so the heel presses up toward the sky. And then bringing the foot back down. So just noticing what it's like to open up the back of the leg a little bit as you move, if that feels okay. This is your time to explore and be present to your experience. And as you move, again, become aware of the gentle movement through the spine. The positioning of your pelvis. Just noticing what naturally happens as you move in this way. You may take about 2 more rounds, so 2 rounds on each side. Taking your time. And whenever you finish on the left side, you can allow both feet to come down to the floor, and arms can go at your sides. Just taking a moment here to feel the back of the pelvis on the ground, your hands on the ground, both feet on the floor. And then we'll begin a very gentle, subtle bridge pose, Setu Bandhasana, by aligning the feet more or less so that they're hip width apart, and so that the knees are more or less in line with the feet. So there's no perfect here. Just take a moment to mindfully set yourself up. Knees are still bent up toward the sky. And as you breathe in today, keep the pelvis down this first round and simply lift the arms up overhead as we've been doing. And then as you breathe out, slowly bring the arms down toward the ground. And as you do that, press through your feet to softly lift the pelvis up off the floor. This could be just a couple of inches to begin. And then as you inhale, go ahead and set the pelvis down and reach the arms up overhead. And as you breathe out and bring the arms down, once again, stabilize the feet and then lift the pelvis any amount. And slowly setting the pelvis down. You could continue to just move the pelvis up and down so that you're engaging the leg muscles to lift the hips up off the floor, and then slowly come down, massaging the spine and muscles next to the spine as you come down. If you'd like to continue with the arm movement as well, you may. Once again, find your rhythm. Know that the pelvis can lift up just an inch each time, and that is a valuable place to be. Or it may come up higher, and that too is also a useful place to be. Notice what feels right for your body. And you can begin to notice if the legs start going out to the sides as you lift the hips up. And that's okay. Know that that's normal. And then just know where you might be able to engage and just with your awareness contribute to your experience of stabilizing the leg muscles so that the knees remain in line with the ankles and toes. Again, knowing that's just an option, just something to be aware of. You might take 2 to 3 more rounds. Really slowing that final round so that you take time meeting the earth as you come down to your mat. And as the sacrum, the back of the pelvis, backs of the hips, there touch the floor. Feel that connection for a moment. And from here, you may lift the feet up off the floor a little bit, bringing your hands to your knees. And as you bring your hands to your knees, go ahead and begin to trace some circles. So as if your knees are making circles on the ceiling or drawing circles on the ceiling, start to circle around on the pelvis or circle around the sacrum, massaging the low back. Perhaps taking wider circles to feel your gluteal muscles, maybe a little bit into the outer hips and into the buttocks, and massage those muscles as well. And begin to notice what it's like to move in a way that feels a little less controlled and a little bit more organic and intuitive. So noticing if the upper body is becoming tense or rigid and allowing it to also move as you circle. And you might start to make smaller circles now. Tuning into the subtlety of the movement, the subtlety of sensation. And then perhaps rotating in the other direction for a few moments. Still allowing the breath to be full and fluid. And allowing the body to be fluid as this container for your breath, for your vital life force. And if you've been making wider circles, you might begin to slow the movement and make them a little bit smaller. So you're drawing very small circles on the ceiling with the knees. And eventually coming to stillness. Perhaps pausing there for a breath. And then you may either lower the feet or keep them a little bit lifted. And for today, I'm going to suggest the option of simply rolling over onto one side and allowing yourself to take rest in this fetal position, this place of renewal, and this place of nurture. And setting yourself up with an arm underneath the head in whatever way is most comfortable. Know that you have the option to lie down in any other position that is comfortable for your body. This is just a suggestion. And gently letting go of the breath. Allow the body to soften into the ground. Feel held by the ground beneath you. Allow the muscles of the face and the jaw to relax and release. And you may spend these final few moments in simple relaxation and perhaps being present to yourself. So being present to any parts of you that come up in the mind or in the body. With a sense of love and a sense of embrace. You're welcome to spend another few minutes. I encourage you to spend another 5 minutes or so relaxing into this position and simply being held by the ground and by yourself.